Takes on more relevance the older you get, you know. But then again, you know, life in prison means less, so.
Let's not go there. Good morning, Ross.
Good morning.
Oh, see, oh, what's this?
Probably about the same way I'm treating everybody else.
Well, that's good. It's always nice not to be singled out.
Because, yeah, that's, yeah. Beat you wherever you're
You
going.
got it, I will always do the same.
Aww.
Are you looking for it?
Yeah. I was busy yesterday.
Ready to go and everything, I tried to tell you now. I've got
You think you want this in the one?
Yeah.
I've got a briefcase I can hardly lift.
This is.
Oh,
With the ordinance that we're proposing today, how are they gonna work, say, like an exemption, my son gets activated, this is overseas, which is probably in my yard. You know, most time, and I wouldn't make them get registration, get insurance on it. I mean, there needs to be some kind of fine line, like I want to store like that.
So we're going to see in the traffic today that there should be an,
this is all neat with the whole meeting that they have.
yeah, but, I mean, we're not losing.
We're not voting on it
We're not
today,
voting on it or
we're
anything.
talking about it.
But that's a good point, that's already been made and things, so you have to give concessions for things
And
that.
I had brought up an issue that with the right, the concerns of the rights, you know, from the shop, you know, the rights to gun shop or whatever. Oh, yeah, got it. I waited, quite a few years ago, about the fact that they have a car in their yard that is gonna be a sinking car, you know, a replacement.
There's coffee in there too, if anybody wants one,
Right.
and cookies.
I put that there, so there had to be some of the same, some people that have.
Oh, I got mine there somehow.
And I hate to be on
No, that is really
Learned them because the Lions won.
Oh, they did?
Yes, they did. It was 26 to 20, I think, wasn't it?
It was 2020, going into overtime.
I didn't
Yeah,
see
they
that.
were
At the 1 yard
Stayed
line,
on.
it's like, woo!
I'd already seen it on college football.
It was.
That's for team sport.
There are handouts that they are using as, you know, talking points and everything, but it's not for us. So, here's this though. They were $35 at the time, so it added up to 105. You know what I remember is Amanda requested these same things.
Yeah.
That's where I had copied it before.
Okay.
So I knew that I had done it at one time, but I thought it was with your request. But apparently not.
Don't know what it is, but sometimes.
That's where that's my, it sounds really loud in my office, my deputy keeps going, when are you gonna fix that? I said, I'm waiting for it to stop. When it stops, I'll replace it. I notice when you hear it, when nobody else is here, and you're alone, you really hear it.
Michael, when you're ready, we are. which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next item is the approval of the agenda.
Somebody else drinks it and I end up going to the refrigerator. I drink it cold, warm, lukewarm, whatever. No, that I don't.
Oh,
But I will dry drink it cold on my desk, you know, because I don't get up too late to get up and heat it.
Oh, I feel you.
Okay, if you had a chance to look at
Make
it,
a motion to accept.
do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Now approval of the minutes of our last meeting. And, in spite of the fact that says July 1st, it's actually from,
Did I get the date wrong?
yeah, it's not a big, it's 12/14, they're all on.
July 14th.
14th, yeah.
I have a sign that says July 1st.
That was when we had the 14th? No, it's what the minutes say.
Oh, on the, you're talking on the, you're not talking, yeah,
Oh,
you're talking on the agenda.
Yeah, yeah,
Got it, okay, yeah, I dropped the 4, okay, thank you, yep, I will make that correct.
okay.
No, wait a minute, okay, now I'm confused, so on the agenda, yeah, the agenda is wrong, so the July, that should say July 1st,
Yes.
okay, the agenda is wrong, and this is correct.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
Sorry.
So, would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
motion to approve.
Second.
Then move to second, those in favor? Once again, it's unanimous. Okay. Now, next item on the agenda is public comment. And we've got an awful lot to cover today, so we'll have to go with the usual rule of 2 minutes and ask that anyone speaking, just identify yourself, and then you get 2 minutes to say whatever you'd like. Anyone like to make any comments?
Yeah, we have a comment here. I can read it if you want. This is the email that my girlfriend wrote to Patricia Trimble. She wrote this to Pat because she's both on the planning commission and because she's one of the board of trustees members. And she's one of only 2 emails that's available through our local government to contact. So a week ago, when me and Derek came into your office and spoke to you and Tom Brandymore, I had mentioned my expectancy for the planning commission to begin to draft regulations for short-term rentals. I see the new zoning ordinance defines the term and allows them with no guidance or restrictions. Honestly, I find this unacceptable and offensive. Short-term rentals are here and expanding, and local governments all over the state have decided they need to be regulated, and I would urge our township to do the same. This is an issue that should have begun to be addressed by the Planning Commission years ago, but as of yet has not been adequately confronted. The longer the township waits to address the issue, the more complicated the situation is going to become. As a neighbor to 3 short-term rental units, I will not stop bringing up this issue until steps are taken and our neighborhood is protected. Having multiple rental units that change guests every single day is equivalent to living next to a motel. You have no idea who your neighbors are. They aren't your neighbors. They're transient guests of a lodging establishment. There is a constant nuisance of increased traffic, loud disorderly conduct, and constant campfires which are never extinguished. A small portion of the guests are quiet and respectful, but they are not the norm. With each new renter, there's the excitement of starting their vacation, followed by noise, drinking, party, and that seems to be the nature of getting away and going up north. And since there's no host living on the property, they have no initiative to keep their behavior respectful. This undermines a reasonable expectation of long-term, year-round tax-paying property owners to have peace and privacy in their homes and yards. If you have an issue with a real neighbor, it is easy to talk to them about it and resolve it respectfully. But when you have a rotating circus of people next door with the same issues occurring day after day, and a landlord who won't speak to you, it's impossible to address or resolve any of these issues.
I can read the rest of it tonight. If you reset the clock, I'll finish and do my 2 minutes for the rest of the night.
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
Okay. What is that?
Yeah. Take time with it too.
Okay.
Regulating these is a no-brainer. An annual registration fee per rental unit will bring in revenue for the township, and as this is a business for the landlords who are renting them, it is not some penalty, but just another business expense. Having restrictions of the length of the rental allowed and the days per year allowed is another great idea that many townships have enacted. A couple townships north of us, Whitney Township, has restrictions that require a short-term rental to be rented for 7 days minimum by each renter. This weeds out the riffraff who want to come and party for a night or two. If you're staying somewhere for a week, you're probably going to be more respectful of the neighbors. And if the township's short-term rental ordinance has fines for non-compliance with their regulations, guests have more incentive to be well-behaved. Ensuring properties are in compliance with all zoning ordinances is also crucial. Other townships regulations have provisions like you can operate a short-term rental but not for more than 28 days per year. Other communities, like the city of Tawas, cap how many properties they allow to be used as short-term rentals in order to maintain housing for year-round residents looking for a place to call home. Other municipalities restrict how many properties one owner can operate. Other municipalities only allow short-term rentals to occur on a property that's the owner's primary residence. Without restriction, it creates more incentive for vacation rental agencies to gobble up more and more properties to rent for profit. There's also the issue of these rental agencies and property owners circumventing the typical regulations, licensing, taxes, and insurance that are required for a bona fide lodging establishment. These rentals hurt legitimate lodging establishments by undercutting the pricing since they're not subject to the same regulations and other things aforementioned. This is a commercial operation operating in a residentially zoned area and needs to be subject to special use permits, application fees, and other restrictions. We had hoped to make this our forever home and live in a community where we know our neighbors and have a sense of safety, peace, and privacy. However, our lives have been overturned and hopes to raise a family here shattered by the commercial rental development that has ruined the once peaceful home and yard we had. Allowing short-term rentals is only good for the owner of the rental, not for the neighbors and the long-term residents of the community. We would have never bought a property next to a motel. No one in their right mind would. But now that's what we own. And the township's failure to act has only compounded the problems we're facing with these. We are both immensely frustrated and have both suffered a marked decline in our mental health and quality of life due to the stress of this issue, and I am eagerly awaiting the township to make a move and to begin regulating these in a reasonable, logical way that puts the rights of long-term residents first and strives to maintain the residential nature of our neighborhoods. I also included in this email to Pat attachments of many other township short-term rental ordinances for you guys to review and to take into consideration. They have some great ideas about how to regulate these things. So, yep.
Can I ask Amanda, what email did you send that to? Because
Patricia Trumbull, I can look it up. It was
Please.
I got it.
You did get it?
It came to me, yeah.
Came to you.
And for
Okay,
the record, as a public comment, for the record, it will be attached to the minutes of the meeting.
Okay,
Minutes of the meeting that
Alright.
she read it at, which
Okay.
is the board meeting last month.
It was the Algery Township Tresh at Century Town.
TWP?
Yep.
Tresh?
Yep,
Okay.
AUGRES TWPTREAS at Century
You
Town.
got it,
Yep. It was also CC to the clerk too. So
Yeah.
if you
Great.
could-
well, I should say, I got it, so I know that she should have gotten it, so.
Well, thank you for your comment, and this is one of the things we're gonna be discussing today.
Perfect.
And, any other comments before we? Okay,
Maybe I should say something.
yeah, go ahead, Art.
It's not a different issue, properties in the township that I don't believe are zoned properly. I just found out we've got lakeshore property that's zoned agricultural. We've got, property on Booth, that all up and down Booth is all rated, lakeshore, lakeside, not lakeside, lakeshore property, but right in the middle of it, there's a piece that forested. That lets that person do what he wants to do in the area where everybody around him cannot do. I think, I brought this up before, I think we need to relook at this.
I think we do too.
Yeah. I can be more specific about the properties if you wanna talk about it. I'll give you the addresses and everything after.
Yeah.
I don't have them with me right now, but,
Yeah, I'd like to know the addresses and go see those
Yeah,
firsthand.
yeah. If you get those to us, sorry.
yeah, okay, we will.
When we were doing when we were redoing the zoning map,
Yeah.
with the land class, I should specify, the land class map and everything, there were some discrepancies that we caught at that time. Obviously, we didn't catch all of them.
I know that was, yeah, there were an awful lot of things corrected.
2018 is when we were doing that, yeah.
Yeah,
And he did correct ones. because
okay,
they were
evidently we missed a couple.
Yes, apparently.
Okay, well, that needs to go on the agenda now. Any board comment? Now we need to turn it over to you and let you talk to us,
Okay.
on the visit there to Pure Green.
I did a thorough inspection of the facility. They, definitely pride themselves in cleanliness and, running everything to the T. They did alleviate some of our concerns with, waste water, things like that. They will never be going to, running anything down into a septic. So like when I had addressed before about, potential nitrates and phosphates in the water supply and everything, they are going to transport everything off-site. They store them in containers and run that all off-site. To address the odor issues that they have, I know that they're trying to be a little more proactive on it moving forward. I discussed with them the ability of possibly putting in a exterior vent to the atmosphere and running that through charcoal carbon filters. But like we addressed in the last meeting, they're gonna try a couple other things that we are going to allow them to do first because of the greater expense with that route. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens and move forward with that, and then if there's any more complaints or if that gel that they're talking about trying works. But I know they've already have a secondary plan there with purchasing more filters.
Good.
So if they progress forward with that, at least we are on line to hopefully solve this issue relatively soon.
Okay.
But everything else, I see a good company, a company that's actually trying. It's not stonewalling the township or anything like that, provide some jobs and seems to be a relatively well-run place.
Yes, and the improvements to the exterior have been wonderful.
Yes, very much so.
The only problem is the odor, and it sounds like they're taking steps to.
Yes, yep, they're being more proactive
They've
with it.
taken that first step, and that seems to be working well. We haven't had any complaints since.
Good.
So,
Well, let's hope we're on the right track.
yes.
Thank you, appreciate your efforts. Okay. Next item on the agenda, discussion and review of the blight ordinance, anti-noise, short-term rentals, et cetera, et cetera. So we got about 3 weeks worth of work we gotta get done this morning. So we will, let's start with,
You want me to paper for me?
yeah, why don't you?
Okay, so, I did a blight ordinance, which she's had the last time, and needs to be picked apart, and, we just need to go over it well, see if there's any additions or subtractions that anyone needs or wants. I did, do an anti-noise ordinance also, and again, that also needs to be, gone over with a fine-tooth comb, please, and just additions or subtractions on that. Short-term rental, we did also, and, again, same, we need to pick that apart. And then, also, our attorney sent to us a dismantle junk car ordinance. So, we can put that with our blight ordinance, and we need to go over that one.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the blight ordinance then.
Yeah, I think this is just for your own reading at home, and then our next meeting, maybe we can set one up. I think our next one is when?
Yeah, as long as we got some
And
additional.
that's one on the calendar at the bottom of your thing, it's
December
December,
2nd.
unless you guys make another, obviously.
Yeah, we'll have to
decide
make
meeting
another one
between-
before that, to
Yeah,
go over
that's the-
these.
That's the fourth quarterly meeting in December.
Yeah, we need to do something prior to that.
You said you
And-
had, at home, like, when you said,
A junk car,
I do not have.
you don't have, okay, so Donna doesn't have that, probably. Do you have that? Can I just leave this in the box?
Yeah, I'll take it right
Yeah.
now.
The
Good to
junk
see you.
car
Have a great day.
ordinance,
Yes, yep,
you do have that?
I do believe so. Yes.
Okay, and Ross?
Oh, here it is, sorry.
Oh,
I
okay,
I
Donna's
was
got
gonna
it.
say, this
I
is gotten in
apologize.
the, it should be gotten when they got their packet in.
I apologize.
Okay, that makes up for my mistake then, right?
Yes.
And just
For one.
we need,
I've got 42 different
yeah,
ordinances here. And that's short-term rentals.
I've been busy trying, anyway.
No, I
Very
don't.
busy.
Oh, and so has Jim.
Well,
Thank
there's
you
the
very
junk.
much.
So that we're talking junk car ordinance now.
For, yes,
That's the one, okay.
yeah.
Can you believe it?
So if we could, I'll take those home, go over them, pick them apart, make your,
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, cause everybody hasn't had a chance to.
Thank you, Pat, for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a chance to review some of this stuff. I have a couple of concerns with the junk car or junk vehicle ordinance. My personal circumstances, which I always try to relate these things how they would affect in, my life, is that, like, I have a son that's in the military. He gets activated and goes overseas. I'm not gonna mandate that he renews his registration on a, 1 or 2 year tour overseas or pays his insurance to leave his car in my yard. We're gonna have to come up with some kind of, something that's, covers that scenario. Or what about the gentleman who wants to, rebuild or repair his vehicle and has it sit in his yard for a while? I mean, that there are certain things that we need to kinda,
yeah, there is in the blight, I had put something in there, if it's in a building or something, but we can also add something like maybe 2 vehicles in a yard.
I was kinda thinking
That-
like a minimum, like,
or,
to be
you know,
able to, cause even if you buy one, I know a few guys that did that, bought 2 vehicles, one of them wouldn't run, one of them, and then they would take parts off the one to fix up the other one, and then they'd scrap out the rest later. I mean, we just don't wanna, mince hairs on
And I
some of
think
these
we
things.
But
definitely need an exclusion.
some of them you need timelines on them.
Right,
Correct, I can see that being,
You almost have to.
Well, we need to do something about the military situation, because we
Exactly.
really can't discriminate against somebody who's gets
Right.
shipped off against their own volition.
right. You don't wanna make it, unreasonable
Well,
expense for them
If
either.
they're in the
Yeah.
military, I think that should be okay, you
Oh, yeah.
know, to,
We need an
because
exclusion for
that's
that.
1 year, 2 year,
Correct.
however,
Right.
you know.
There are some exceptions in there for the, what do they call that, the inspection official, or whatever we're calling that, the enforcement official, enforcement officer, to use jurisprudence to decide whether or
Which
not to
way.
enforce something, but, technically, you leave that power in one person's hands, that could go the other way.
Right.
Say they don't, they don't see things from your point of view or anything, we should have something clear and defined in the ordinance to even remove any chance for someone to, misinterpret that.
I don't think it's fair to either party, not, either the person out there doing inspection or, the owner. I think basically, we need to spell it out well enough.
I would
where
think so.
We've got everything covered.
Yeah,
Well, that's why we can pick apart and put in some language.
okay, I'll just note a few things on here like that, and, okay.
Okay,
Can we make a meeting for this right now?
I would like to.
Go for it.
Um,
You guys agree on when you wanna do it, and I'll tell you where there's a conflict. Remember, November 5th is election, so if you can do it either before, or sometime in October, depends how much time you guys need. but,
October 28th?
First of the month and after that, like even the first week in November's out for me.
October, what, 28th?
October 28th?
Is that doable?
Well, that sounds good.
That'll give us almost 2 months to go over all of them.
October 20th,
28th, that's on a Monday?
28th,
Yes. You want that at 9 then?
Yeah, may as well.
it will be.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Pardon me, look at that date again,
October 20th.
October 20th.
28th,
Oh,
28th,
28th.
yeah,
28th.
28th, yes.
It'll be on the website. Right, we gotta make sure that it's posted on the website.
What time is that?
9,
Is it
9
9 in the morning?
Yeah, 9, usual
Thank
time.
you.
Geez, I'm glad you
Thank you,
spoke up
Derek.
then, I'd have been 8 days late, early.
Why don't your wife put the calendar on her phone?
So we're good with that one then? Yeah.
So that will take care of the light ordinance, the anti-noise, the short-term rental, whole 9 yards. Yeah, good, give everybody a chance to do a little bit of research here.
Yeah, Robert had said something about that the last time and things, so we can review that.
Yeah, like I would think in the ordinance to have something like in the purview, like the building materials and stuff, as long as they have a valid building permit,
Oh, yeah,
I think that should
Yeah,
be
that
the
would,
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally different, and I thought I had put something in there in reference to that, so if they're building, that would be fine, but this is like after the fact where it's sitting there for years.
Yeah.
So,
I had to check my calendar with the BSNA stuff to see if there was, the 28th was one of those days.
is that good?
You know, like, yes, it's open.
so I'll cover short-term rentals. Cars and zoning ordinances, and sightline reviews, okay.
Yeah, I would actually agree with the, short-term rental part, having a township ordinance drafted like that,
Well, I think we
you
need
know,
one.
inspections and
Mhm.
things like
That
that.
impacts on everybody in the township,
Mhm.
and I think it absolutely has to be done. And for those people living closer, it's much more protection.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think we've gotta do that safeguard thing.
And next one,
Okay, D says on
you
the,
want me to take that?
yeah, if you want to,
I'm sorry.
Hey,
Okay,
you guys are
next
a team.
one, the fences and sightline versus the sightline. We have to reword the sightline or the line of sight, and then the sightline or property line, into the ordinance. So, the first two on the list there are the two that I'm suggesting that we, put into the ordinance
You got that
to
one, right?
just justify the difference between the two.
Thinking,
We
okay.
don't have,
Yeah, you do, I think.
we don't have sightline or property line in there right now.
In definitions, you mean.
Yes. Okay,
okay, yes, I agree with it wholeheartedly.
is that okay? Okay. Did you get a, did
No.
everybody get a copy?
No, I asked if they're not available for us, apparently.
Okay.
These are working copies.
Okay, all
But I guess I'll put a FOIA request in.
So I can,
I'll
you
have
want
to
me to read
acknowledge
it
that.
then?
I'm sorry.
You want me to read that?
Yeah, if you,
Okay.
would be a good
So
idea.
sight line, S-I-G-H-T, line or line of sight, is the line of sight, a direct path between 2 points, a line from an observer's eye to a distant point. And then, we'll read from the ordinance, sorry. And this would be added to the sight line that's there, a line across the width of the lake lot or other water body lot which connects the points closest to the lake water body on the foundation of the principal structure on either side of the lot or a parcel of land upon which proposed structure is to be construed. Or constructed, I'm sorry. And then to add, line of sight is a direct path between 2 points, a line from an observer's eye to a distant point. Okay?
Okay.
And then sight line and property line, this is S-I-T-E, and I don't think we have property line in here either. No. And that would be added to state the boundary of a premises and may be referred to as a property line. Okay? That-
Can we go with that one? Anything else?
The next, if those are okay, I don't know, do we need to okay those?
We probably should.
If you want to, that, probably what you'd want to okay is them inserted into the chapter. Which we could do at the next, I mean, these are still, and Jess, I'm sorry that I had not gotten you the document you asked for, which talked about the procedure of the lengthy procedure of getting the zoning ordinance adopted.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, I did not get that, I have that,
Oh, you-
I know I rambled about what it is and the length, so
Yeah.
we still haven't started that, which is good, because now you're adding these things in.
Oh,
So
good.
I think that at the next meeting, if
Put that
there's
whole
no-
thing
gonna
on
be
the
no,
agenda.
put the whole thing together,
Yeah.
we can show, what I'll do is I'll take the pages where these things are added in, and then have them as part of your packet, so then you can see, this is what it reads like, without having to flip through the zoning ordinance.
And Michael, I really want to express my thanks for the 2 week.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah,
think
I
that.
got everything 2 weeks in advance, and
Yeah.
so for the
Yeah,
first
we're
time, I
trying-
haven't had to work
Hopefully I
on
can
things the
keep
night
meeting
before
that
the
same.
meeting.
Yeah,
It's really nice, thank you.
instead of the weekend before, so that.
Okay.
And then the last one is the fences, walls, and screens. Right now, we have just a one little sentence for fences, walls, or screens are permitted in all yards, but shall be subject to site distance requirements at drives and roadways. And that should also state waterway.
Yes.
Okay, so that's section 4.9 on that, Michael, to
Okay.
put,
Yeah.
driveways and roadways and then to include and waterway.
Got it, so that what else is on that page is already existing,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, and then if everybody could read over and pick apart what I put together for section 4.9
Yeah,
and see if everything's in order,
okay.
okay?
Okay. So, one more thing for next meeting. Okay,
It's always ongoing.
yes, it is.
But
Okay, next. Request Ross Mazer resign from planning commission board due to late conflicts. Ross, what are your comments on that?
You have my verbal resignation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for serving.
Yeah, I appreciate the time you spent with us, Ross.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ross.
Okay. Upcoming marijuana reviews.
just keep you what's going on, and that's that. We have upcoming is going to be, applications as the reviews of what we discussed at previous meetings. Cola Farms will be expanding to the west here
Yeah.
on that property and everything. You're all aware of that, right? When we all talked about it, so.
Yeah.
The 90 days that is required ahead of time in terms of using an existing permit on a new location started at the first of the month, something like that. So they came in and talked to me, Wayne did, and, so he's in preparation of getting the, application going for that. There is they are planning to, I'm not sure that it's going to happen or not, but they have been working over on the facility on the corner of Dryer and Manor Road, there, which has been Farmco that has been paying their, they have 4 permits that, will expire at the end of October, and they could very well be taken up by Cola Farms. They've actually been doing a lot of work over there, though they don't own the property, so they've been cleaning up the property. Cola Farms workers have been cleaning up the property, and they plan to apply for those permits. So basically what they would be doing is purchasing the facility, the site, the property with the permits, but then they have to reapply for those permits. But they as you know, the permits can be attached to the sale of a facility. So they say it doesn't exempt them from applying, they don't get an automatic renewal, they still gotta pay the money and the application. So that would be a review. And then there was a request for, remember how we only had 3 we used to have 6 provisioning centers, now they're retail establishments. That when the marijuana ordinance was first written, the medical was written, we allowed for 6 provisioning centers within the township. And that would have been 6 provisioning centers between Santiago, where the pier is, and 65, because that's the only commercial properties that are in the township, the red. So, and provisioning center had to be on commercial property. So there was one of those 6 attached to Thaler's Meat Market, which is next door to Dutch Delight up here on the highway, okay? And then during that time, that property was being transferred between investors, I guess you would say, that permit expired. It did not get renewed. Okay, and then we made a change, the township suggested it, the planning commission suggested it, and the board adopted it to reduce the number of provisioning centers in the township to 3. So that left High Level Health, the Dutch Delight one, and the one that was attached to the Pure Green facility that is next to the pier. They originally had a provisioning center there, way back in 2018, 2019, something like that. So they maintained the ownership of that for a while, and then they finally gave it up. So as it is available, there is potential that there is going to be an application to put a provisioning center into the property where Thaler's Meat Market was, which is that brick building. So you've got the one existing one right next to it, and you've got and then you have an empty lot, and then you have Williamson's where they live. So we would be following all of the requirements that we did, notifications and all that stuff. But those are the potential ones coming up, and definitely the Cola Farms expansion is going to happen. The other ones I don't know. So.
Yeah, and they've got.
Well, actually, I gotta take that back. I did get, in order for the open slot for the provisioning center to be, not going to somebody else, I have 2 $500 checks for a medical and a recreational, facility, sales facility in my door, actually in the vault, so. So it's more than likely going to happen. I haven't gotten any application. or anything of that nature, but I do have basically the ownership of the slot, as we used to call them, in effect for that property. Any questions?
Okay. Any other questions of Michael? Okay. Now any comments from any of the board members?
I have no comment.
My gosh. Well, I would like to thank you, Pat, for everything you have done in this past
Very
month.
much
My
so.
gosh, I mean,
Very
you've been
much.
working overtime and making our life a lot easier, I think. And, so, any thoughts you had about getting off this board are gonna be met with opposition.
Second that motion.
Very good.
All in favor?
Same thing goes for you, lady.
I don't know about that. We're out.
Okay. Any comments from any of the board members, sir? Okay. And,
Already given us our homework assignment, so we're good.
Yes. And,
I have a question, Tyler, you never got paid, I don't think, for your visit to, you should have gotten paid for the meeting that we had for when we met with Brewick and them, right? That, I think that, do you remember? You got paid for that with Robert, they're getting paid, you got paid for the meeting that we had, where we met with the sewer green facility people.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he ever got paid for his visit to the facility.
I
We
think you
can
did,
check.
but I'll check.
We can
What
check
month
it.
was it? Last month? You mean August?
Might have been in
July.
You know what? I think it was July.
It
I was gonna say,
It
because
was right after the meeting. It was the
I
same
got the
day.
meeting sheet and it's not on the
Yeah,
August.
and I didn't, well, that's my
Check
bad,
right
but
now.
I didn't write it down for you, so that.
Okay.
that-
Hey, that's a bonus. I didn't even know. That's what they want along with it.
No, that's actually, that's like, okay. That's all I got.
and if you get the check for Pete's sake, don't try to break it down to an hourly rate.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Oh, terrific. Yeah. Oh, no, you're good, thanks,
Sorry to
Evan.
interrupt.
No, you're good, bud.
Okay, so we have no comments from the board, public comment.
I got a comment, I guess, so you guys are covering the fences and stuff and all that, and, down to the waterway, I mean, it's pretty much, it's spelled out pretty clearly on the zoning, especially in the lakefront residential, it's spelled out to the T, black and white, what is allowed, what isn't allowed as far as fences. Beyond the line of sight, nothing above 36 inches is allowed down to the waterway. I've forwarded copies of Mr. Chambers' fence to both Patricia and the clerk here, showing that he is clearly in violation of our fence ordinance and line of sight ordinance. The fence is actually 52 inches at the water, at the ordinary high water mark, right there, and you guys both have copies of that in the email, which I have a copy there. The other issue is with these short-term rentals, I believe short-term, part of the regulation of short-term rentals is they should be in compliance with all zoning ordinances. In order to obtain a permit, you need to be in compliance with all the zoning ordinances. So if you're not in compliance with something like a fence or something else where maybe you illegally built your building 27 feet in front of your neighbor's house, then you don't actually get to get a short-term rental permit because you aren't following the zoning ordinance. And if you're not gonna follow the zoning ordinance, you shouldn't be allowed to do business here in our township.
Okay, when we'll take all that into consideration, when we start drafting the ordinance potentially to recommend to the township.
Yeah, thanks. I came here 22 months ago bringing this up initially, and it seems like we're still at square one with this. But
Okay.
I'm the one that lives next to it, so I have to deal with it. It's a revolving door. I mean, people come up here, they unpack their stuff, they zoom into the town, go get their stuff, they zoom back, it's just constant, it's a nightmare living here next to a motel.
Okay, any other comment?
Yeah, I guess I would like to thank the board for starting to work on a short-term rental, ordinance. I think that's a great move. The longer that you wait to make one and adopt it, the more angry neighbors that you're going to have to deal with, who are dissatisfied with the fact that their residential property has now become the neighbor to a motel that has no regulations. And also, I would like to, maybe point out earlier that Pat is basically the only planning commission member whose email is available on the website. That would be great if you guys could add contact information for all of the planning commission. And I've been to a whole lot of the township meetings, and I've never seen any of the planning commission members other than Patricia, who's part of the board of trustees at the meeting. And it would be great to see you guys' faces more and, have you participate in the regular meetings of the community if you're going to be helping plan and direct our community forward.
Okay, I tend to agree that it's a very good thing for us all to attend those regular meetings. I have had a few difficulties that have not permitted that. And just my choice here, but I have not done any driving since I've been having a few problems with my eyes as a result of some of these problems I have had. So, I mean, I probably could drive, but I don't feel totally secure by doing it, so I see my optometrist next month, and then I'll be able to get this thing resolved, because I need new glasses is basically what the problem is. And I don't know if any of you folks are aware of this, if you've had the misfortune to have health problems, but the earliest you can get in to see anybody in the healthcare industry is 90 days, and that's pretty prompt service in their minds. So that's why I haven't been coming to the meetings. I normally would be, but, and I think the board members tell you I used to attend these, but since I've had the problems and really can't drive, I think it's asking a bit much of my wife to drive me over here and then come back, and she's got some pretty active things she's doing too.
You and I are almost neighbors. If you want to ride, I'll stop by.
Wonderful, sir. Appreciate that.
I'll do that. We'll meet tomorrow, don't we? Is a regular meeting tomorrow?
Yep, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock tomorrow. You want to try to make it?
Okay, yeah,
I'll pick you up.
okay.
About 6:30.
About 6:30.
Okay, I'll be there.
I have family problems at home. Am I to drop those to come? Question?
I think your personal problems should, or any personal interest should take priority over just attending a meeting. I mean,
I'm not
we
saying
need to at
that.
these meetings. I'd hate to see anything happen with that, but no, I totally understand. There are a lot of things that stop people from attending some late meetings.
I've provided public service by making recordings of all the meetings. They're available on YouTube. If you type in Arenac Township meeting, that meeting will pop up. So if you're unable to attend for whatever reason, I understand. We all have personal things. We have lives besides going to meetings. So they're provided for you guys free of charge in order to increase the transparency of the township government.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other further business to come before the board? If not, I would entertain.
I got a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
Concerning fences. I know we're backing up a little bit. Front yard, backyard. Okay, on the water, the front yard is on the water side and backyard's on the road side. Away from the water, it's the opposite. So, do we make a differentiate in that ordinance?
Good point.
That's been historic, that's the way it's been. I mean,
Yeah,
I've only been here 7 years, and my wife and I still argue over the front yard job or backyard job. So, that's where I'm coming from on that. So, yeah.
yeah.
Front
I
door,
think
back
there
door.
is, yeah, I think there is something,
Is there
I don't
something?
have it marked,
I haven't got mine with me right
but
now,
I
so
think there is something in, the chapter 4 the water line,
Yeah,
It does talk about the thing, but it.
correct,
I
on the
think-
fences.
yeah, but as far as the height thing, you can go, whether you're talking front yard or backyard, so I'm getting that.
Yeah,
Correct, yeah, and that's why, you know, I
Good
gave
point.
this to everyone today so they can pick it apart and we can make changes that,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good
is
point.
more, you know,
okay.
Just wanna bring it up
more
now.
heads
I'll
are
get
better
that
than
next
just
meeting.
one and we,
The height
Okay.
thing only shows the water side. I think the waterfront's the only thing that has a height restriction for fences, as far as I'm aware. So I think that's already nipped in the bud right there. It says nothing over 36 inches.
Okay, do we have any,
I have, I guess, one last question. I'm curious how, now that Mr. Baser has resigned, how does the planning commission go about selecting a new, member?
we don't,
Who does?
the board,
Okay,
township board.
I guess you can defer to Patricia. How does the township board make a selection?
okay, well, that will be on the agenda for tomorrow, which I will not be here. But Michael, I'm sure will handle that, and that will be posted as an opening, and then we will review
Basically, it's just like.
review whatever we receive in applications and go from there. Okay?
Okay,
In general, in the past, it's been finding somebody who would serve. Getting somebody to serve on a township is very difficult. Nobody wants to do it. And, you know, we try to meet the requirements of having a diverse background of the people on the board. Business, farmer, you know, that kind of thing, resident.
yeah, it's good to get a cross section.
Okay?
Alrighty. There's no,
Make a motion to adjourn.
do we have a second? Outstanding, all those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. I'm gonna bring it with the newspaper.
If anybody has any, I'm running to the post office.
You need a ride home, Jeff?
You need a ride home?
Hey, if you're headed that way, I would appreciate it, and save me calling the wife. Sure. Okay. Thank you, kind sir.
Thanks for the homework, guys.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's in the home somewhere.
Do your homework,
Don't
you
laugh
have to stay in
too hard. I
school
gave it
again.
to, I gave it to Tom, so he could proofread and everything, he was just a laugh, and I said, "What's that?"
If it saves.
Not kind of commentary you were looking for?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. That thing weighs about 20 pounds.
Oh, it does. It does. That's what all the books and things I need for this, is all the books to Sarah. Thinking about suing the township if I throw my back out, for what they may sound.
Hey, me and you both, maybe we could get a 2-for-1 deal.
Need bigger briefcases, is that how it works?
Yeah.
I read MTA, I'm really not supposed to speak at a planning commission meeting.
Oh,
Okay.
But I will bring it to the board's attention.
okay.
Yeah, I read that. So,
Okay.
I'm just here as a citizen.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
That's why I didn't take my hat and jacket off.
Because you're leaving.
Since we're going to be,
Listen to you.
Going through all the ordinances like I told you before, like caught up on all this since I'm new and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works with our enforcement officer and everything. I was gonna talk to the board about, just, yeah.
Oh,
So some,
yeah.
email, from some enforcement officer type of scenario.
Yeah.
FYI,
If you wanted your input on that and stuff, that'd be like,
Mr.
Yeah, I mean, I think
did a citation
more-
this week.
If you're more open to be able to communicate, the better, you know, that's been the thing, like, who do you call the sheriff,
Yeah,
and stuff there.
well, that's, I was gonna ask that about, like, when you guys were talking about the email you sent to Pat on the,
Yeah, and then it doesn't,
rental
she
next
doesn't
door.
think she even has a copy, and it's like,
Right.
how do I get this information to you guys, you know? I mean, do I go to your house and drop
On the
it off, and
internet,
then one time do all that, you know?
Yeah, I put it down that you do it on the internet.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing it.
Right, yeah, make it easier
I
for
can,
sure, because the only thing I have is we have
As
these two
a
emails,
citizen.
you know, and it's been really frustrating me to get a response.
MTA,
I don't even know if they even received it.
Just
Mhm.
Well, yeah, those are things we kind of want to.
I'm going.
Here.
Mhm.
At least from my standpoint.
Yeah.
Because I don't have an email for
Here,
township.
look, look.
Right, but I think
Oh,
there
you
should be,
want
I mean, at least, or like a general one that.
Oh.
Yeah,
direct
before
to
you
this
go,
person,
you have that,
you get that
you have
mailbox
that
aspect
picture?
there.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I thought there was something that there's only
Yes,
had
did
something
I give
or
it to you?
whatever, but.
But I will get it, I will get it to you.
Yeah, it's just been really tough to, you know,
That this on
to
my
talk about
things.
that.
Get all this on my
We
things.
tried turning this up before and
I'll
just,
show you something.
you know, get these 2 minutes at the beginning of the meeting and 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah, 'cause it's a matter of going through all that, make sure everything's aligned and.
Yeah, and we're going back.
A lot of stuff hasn't been updated in a while.
We're going back and forth, so I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, I have full files of this stuff. I'm basically focused on the township and I have everything ready to do that, but I'd like to try to nip it in the bud before we get to that point. But this is, for example, this guy who's gonna build a lakefront house, this is all he had to do to show, that this was his site plan to get approved to the house. It doesn't show where, you have no idea where this house is on this property. So because of that, he was allowed to build it 27 feet in front of my house. I mean, you've been out, you saw, you've seen this before, you understand why I'm frustrated. And it's like, this is just,
Where's this one at? Now looking from the north to the south, across your place from rental area.
these are the 3 rentals for here, this is all.
Oh, okay, those are four of them.
Yeah, these are the 3 that he submitted.
I thought it might have been that one further down that was more framing close down there. I didn't know about that. I thought that was an older structure.
Yeah, that thing, I don't think that thing was permitted, from what all the neighbors say. It's still no one even lives in it, it's been sitting there vacant for 7 years.
Oh, what they're gonna do, like in my opinion, you know, I have, again, no experience in this, I just give it to you the way I kind of see it.
Yeah.
Is that with that other house being way out in front like that, they said they didn't know if they had a permit. What's the precedence that was set there? You know what I mean, was that,
Yeah.
if that structure was there and then that's what they built the other structures by and your house just happens to be the one in the most,
Yeah.
you see what I mean, how the argument could be phrased there?
Yeah, I do, but it's right here in black and white, and this is where I've read this out to them, so they've got the sight line, which defines the sight line. So this is, it's a weird example because this is the house in the middle. Obviously, you gotta build the house behind the sight line. But what we're at now is this. So yeah,
Now, this would be, now, if this would apply to you, this would be the rental, this would be your house, but then that other house is way up here. further
Yeah.
up. So again, you see what I mean with the,
oh, for sure.
and that was my opinion on it when I came out and looked. You know, I told you guys I'd come out and look and everything and have to ask, oops.
Right, fine. Yeah, but so here's what we're talking about, so the sight line, that house is more than 300 feet away from where the proposed building was. So if their principal structure within 300 feet on either side of the lot, which the proposed structure to be built, the zone administrator will establish a sight line intended to provide adequate protection of the view of the lake for future development in the area. So then my problem is we have these empty lots in between here, and now this is 27 feet in front, though other ones can build 27 feet in front of, you know, my house on both sides. So I have 2 empty lots to the south of me, and there's 1 empty lot to the north of me. So, but it says, you know, from the foundation, and that this is, so if there's no principal structure located on the contiguous property to the lot, the sight line will be established from the point closest to the lake on the foundation of the next principal structure within 300 feet, which is my house. I mean, that's what I can only do. This is to establish a sight line and to provide adequate protection of the view of the lake. You know,
I'm glad we got.
I mean, I have videos I can show you right now.
That hot stuff, I don't.
So the
feel
house is
like
27
doing
feet in front, and then there's a fence that goes another 27 feet.
Do
It's 8
you?
feet tall.
Oh,
My wife's just.
My
Their
goal,
argument is that, and this would be something I would prefer to use just between you and Central, is his complaint is that.
Yeah, you're probably looking forward to it. Well, the one for snow.
yeah.
oh, I haven't heard any.
That's what, that will hold up. I
Yeah,
don't know if it has been, I don't know.
yeah,
So just, you know, for your own
yeah, yeah.
knowledge, I mean,
We take what we
I
get.
didn't know that.
Yes.
When I went there,
And luckily, we don't have some weather issues, some
That was his complaint.
Both my kids.
Not his complaint, that was his statement. He didn't complain when he brought that to me
Yeah.
about
And
me
where?
asking. I asked him one day, because you asked me, your girlfriend did too.
In her,
Amanda.
Amanda. And she had asked me, I told her to come out and take a look.
within 5 miles of her.
You know, not refresh, but to know what was happening, actually see it, instead of getting hearsay.
Yeah, I appreciate it, it came right out.
Somebody was awesome.
No, that's all I can do. Like I said, I'm so far behind on all this.
So they gave me a
Like,
remedy.
maybe fourth meeting.
Yeah, they're few and far between.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the way you gotta be. If you don't, I don't want there to be any conjecture when you know.
And
So
there's
I'm
my,
looking to see what my own eyes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Some of the other members just drove by and like, I don't see a problem. It's like, you can't see the problem unless you go onto the property, you know? From the road is facing.
And like, the blight ordinance will kind of affect you with what you got going on there too.
Yeah, I think so.
and, you know,
I
so, well,
don't know what he's gonna do either with it, but that was his complaint. He said he's keeping him.
I used to look up to it.
Gotcha.
Oh,
It's just me.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Part too, because I think there is a definition of that to use that to obstruct.
For insurance, you know, their insurance coverage.
Folks in that see it.
It was.
Sure.
There's a clause, I think, is the word I'm looking for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not arguing that or whatever. I mean, what it comes down to is, I have building materials on my property that I was trying to put up a fence last year, before this fence got put up. I called the zoning administrator, and he said he was gonna come up the next day. This was June of 2022. He called me the very next day and told me just the council board was advising that he had not been able to come up to my property. That was really weird. This is before I started hammering with all this stuff. So now I was gonna put the fence, but then without the guy coming out to tell me how far I can put the fence out, I have not done that. So everything's sitting how it is, and it's gonna sit like that until he comes out and tells me how far I can put my fence out. I mean, and that was well before this. And when it comes down to that fence that got put up, I don't know if you guys know about this, but we were assaulted in our house by one of the guests at his place.
The police force?
I called, yeah, I kicked the guy left in an ambulance. But our Mr. Tim Robbins didn't even file a police report nor incident report.
Well, if you were assaulted, you'd be the one filing the police report.
I called the sheriff and they came over and he just didn't refile a report. Yeah, I know, I have it.
Yeah, because if you're filing a police report, that's on the sheriff's department.